They said Lily Reed would never walk again. They said her mind had closed its doors the night her mother died. But on that cold evening in New York, when Daniel Reed pushed open the door to his townhouse and heard a small sound coming from upstairs, a sound he had not heard in 18 long months, something inside him stopped. It was the sound of a child trying to laugh, soft and broken, like a memory trying to come back to life, and it pulled him step by step toward the room he had been too afraid to enter for months. His hands shook, his eyes filled, because if this sound was real, then everything he thought he had lost might not be gone forever. Daniel stood in the hallway for a long moment, frozen, almost afraid to breathe. The townhouse was always silent, quiet in a way that felt heavy, but today, the air felt different. Something warm was slipping into the cold walls, something he had not felt since before the accident. He placed his keys on the table, slow and unsure. He looked up the staircase, and the small sound came again, gentle but real. It pushed him forward. He moved up the stairs one step at a time, each step slow, careful, as if the sound might disappear if he rushed. His hands touched the rail, but his fingers felt weak. For months, he had lived in fear of seeing Lily still sitting in the same corner, fear of seeing nothing in her eyes, fear of remembering Anna's smile the night she kissed them both goodbye. When he reached the top of the stairs, he heard another sound, this time mixed with something else, something he did not expect. A soft voice, warm and steady, speaking gently, like someone trying to comfort a frightened child. He knew that voice. It was Rachel, the new maid he barely spoke to. She had been working in the house for only 3 weeks, yet her presence had already changed something small, something he could not name. Daniel moved closer to Lily's door. His chest felt tight. His breath felt shallow. His fingers trembled as he reached forward, stopping just short of the doorknob. Part of him wanted to turn back, to hide in his office like he always did, drown himself in work until the night swallowed him, but the sound of that small laugh pulled him in. He pushed the door open just enough to look inside, and what he saw almost made his legs give out. Rachel was lying on the floor, her arms and legs spread out, making silly movements, as if trying to draw shapes in the air. She said something soft, something playful, and Lily, little Lily, the child who had not walked since the night her mother died, sat beside her. Lily's small shoulders moved with a tiny laugh, her hand trying to reach forward. Her face, usually empty and still, had a light in it, a light Daniel thought he would never see again. His eyes filled at once, his throat tightened. He grabbed the doorframe to steady himself as everything inside him broke open. Lily turned her head for a moment, her gaze drifting toward Rachel's face, and that single motion, that tiny movement, felt like a miracle. For 18 months she had stared at walls, floors, windows. Now she was looking at someone. Rachel's voice was gentle. "It's okay, sweetie, I'm right here." Daniel lowered his head. He covered his mouth with his hand, trying to stop the sound rising in his chest. He felt shame, guilt, and relief mixing inside him until he could not tell the difference. He had spent so much money on doctors, so many nights drowning in fear, yet this simple woman, this maid he never bothered to understand, had done something no one else could do. He stepped back before either of them noticed him. He walked into the hallway and pressed his hand against the wall. Tears rolled down his cheeks, but he did not wipe them. He let them fall. He had held everything in for so long that he almost forgot what release felt like. Rachel's voice floated through the doorway again, calm and patient. "You are safe here, Lily. You can come alive again." Daniel closed his eyes. Come alive again. How long had he been waiting to hear that? He moved down the hall, away from the room, away from the sound of healing. His legs felt weak as he entered his office. He shut the door and leaned against it. His breath came out shaky. He sat down slowly. Placing his face in his hands, he whispered into the empty room, "Anna, I don't know how to do this. He stayed like that for a long time, trapped between sorrow and hope. He remembered the night Anna died, the phone call that broke everything. He remembered Lily screaming in the hospital, clinging to Anna's scarf. He remembered how Lily fell silent afterward, her small body refusing to move again. He remembered how he failed them both. Hours passed before he left his office. When he entered the kitchen, Rachel was already there, cleaning quietly. She looked up, but he avoided her eyes. He noticed something different, though. The house felt warmer. It felt alive for the first time in a long time. Rachel spoke softly. She ate a little today. Daniel paused. His voice came out rough. She laughed. Rachel nodded. Yes, she did. He wanted to ask how she did it, but the words refused to come out. Instead, he looked down, afraid of what she might see in his face. Rachel wiped her hands. She is still hurting, but she is listening now. She is trying. Daniel nodded slowly. I don't know how to help her. Rachel looked at him with quiet strength. Then learn. Her words held no anger, no disrespect, only truth. And Daniel felt it deeply. He walked away, not knowing that the most painful days were still ahead, and the most beautiful ones too. But tonight, something small had changed. A door had opened, Lily had laughed, and nothing in their lives would ever be the same again. The next morning came with a quiet, cold air inside the townhouse, the kind of air that made the walls feel heavy again. Daniel woke early, long before the sun came up. He sat on the edge of his bed with his hands pressed together, staring at the floor. He had barely slept. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Lily's small laugh, soft like a weak light trying to come back. And every time he remembered that moment, he also felt fear. Fear that it would disappear. Fear that he would fail her again. Daniel stood slowly and walked to the hallway. The house was still dark, the kind of darkness that made every step feel louder than normal. He stopped outside Lily's room but did not open the door. He could not bring himself to look inside. He whispered to himself, "Please let her be okay." Then he walked away. Downstairs, Rachel was already in the kitchen, even though it was barely 6 in the morning. She stood at the counter, cutting soft fruit for Lily, her movements slow and careful. She looked tired, but there was something steady in her face, something warm that had not faded despite the long nights in the house. Daniel stepped into the kitchen, but did not speak at first. He watched her quietly, unsure of how to begin. Finally, he cleared his throat. "Good morning," he said. Rachel turned gently. "Good morning, sir." He hated the word sir now. It felt like a wall he did not want between them, but he also knew he had put it there himself. He stepped closer. "I heard her laugh again," he said softly. "Last night, before I walked away." Rachel nodded. "She is trying, sir. Her body remembers joy, even if her mind is scared." Daniel rubbed the back of his neck, a habit he developed when he was uncomfortable. "How did you get her to respond?" he asked, his voice low. "I did not force anything," Rachel said. "I just stayed close to her. I talked. I moved slowly. And when she saw me lying on the floor being silly, something inside her connected with it." Daniel swallowed hard. "I thought all hope was gone." Rachel placed the bowl of fruit on the counter. "Hope does not disappear, sir. It hides. It waits for someone to make it feel safe again." Her words sank deep into him, almost painful. A few minutes passed in silence before Rachel carried the bowl upstairs. Daniel followed behind her, his steps uncertain. Rachel pushed open the door gently, and there was Lily sitting in her usual corner, holding her stuffed elephant. She looked tired, but there was something softer in her eyes today, something awake. "Good morning, Lily," Rachel said softly. Lily did not look at her. Not yet. But she moved her fingers slightly over the elephant's ear, a sign she had heard the voice. Rachel sat on the floor across from her, not too close. Daniel stood by the door, watching, afraid to move. He was scared of doing the wrong thing. scared of breaking whatever fragile progress had come the night before. "Would you like some fruit?" Rachel asked gently. No answer. But Lily's eyes flicked for a tiny moment toward the bowl. Daniel caught it, and something in his chest tightened. Rachel noticed too. She pushed the bowl a little closer, slow and calm. "It's here if you want it, sweetie." Minutes passed. Long minutes. And then, slowly, Lily reached out her hand and picked up a piece. She held it for a long time, almost as if waiting for permission from herself. Then she put it in her mouth. Daniel covered his mouth with his hand. His eyes stung again. Rachel looked up at him. "She is choosing life, sir. One small step at a time." Daniel leaned against the doorway, trying to steady his breathing. He wanted to kneel beside his daughter, but he did not know if she wanted him there. He did not know if she remembered him as comfort or as pain. Rachel spoke softly again. "Would you like Daddy to sit with us today?" Lily's fingers closed around the elephant tightly. She froze. Daniel stepped back, hurt slicing through him, but Rachel lifted her hand in a small, calming gesture. "She is not rejecting you," Rachel said. "She is scared of losing anything else." Daniel swallowed. "What do I do?" "You wait," Rachel whispered. "You let her feel you nearby without pressure. She needs to know you are safe." Daniel lowered himself slowly onto the floor near the door, leaving space, his hands resting on his knees. Lily glanced at him for the shortest moment, hardly a second, but it was enough to make his eyes fill. Hours passed this way. Rachel spoke gently. Lily listened. Daniel watched quietly, learning how to breathe through his own fear. Later in the afternoon, Helen arrived. She stepped into the room and saw the three of them. Her eyes softened. "How is she doing today?" she whispered. "Better," Rachel said. "She is opening small doors." Helen placed her hand on Daniel's shoulder. "She needs you, Danny." "I don't know how to give her what she needs," Daniel whispered back. Helen squeezed his shoulder. "Then let Rachel teach you." The words stung, not because they were harsh, but because they were true. That evening, Daniel sat in his office, staring at an old family photo. Anna was smiling, holding Lily in her arms, sunlight on both their faces. His hands shook as he traced Anna's outline in the picture. "I'm trying," he whispered. "I don't know if I'm doing this right, but I'm trying." Down the hall, he heard Rachel humming again, the same gentle tune she always used. Her voice spread through the house like warmth, slowly breaking the cold air that had lived there for so long. Daniel closed his eyes. He did not know yet that tomorrow, fear would push him toward a choice that would break everything again. He did not know yet that the pain ahead would almost destroy the progress they had made. All he knew in that moment was this: a small light had returned to their house. And he did not want to lose it again. First volleys welved the relent. The next morning came with a thin light over New York, a light that touched the windows but could not remove the heaviness inside Daniel's chest. He woke early again, long before Rachel or Helen moved through the house. He sat on the edge of his bed, staring at his hands. They felt weak. He felt weak. Every step forward with Lily felt fragile, like the smallest mistake could push her back into silence. He stood slowly and walked into the hallway. The house was quiet. Too quiet. He moved toward Lily's room, hoping for the small signs he had seen the day before. When he reached her door, he heard nothing. No soft movement, no small sound, only silence. His chest tightened. He pushed the door open gently. Lily sat in the same corner, holding her elephant, her eyes empty again. Whatever small light had appeared yesterday seemed gone. Daniel froze in the doorway, fear spreading through him. Had he already failed her again? Had he broken something without meaning to? Before he spoke, Rachel appeared behind him with a tray of breakfast. She took one look inside and understood everything. She stepped past Daniel and sat on the floor like she always did, her movements slow and calm. "Good morning, sweetie," Rachel said softly. Lily did not answer. She did not move. She only blinked once, slow and tired, as if the world had become heavy again. Daniel stepped into the room, unsure if he should stay or leave. His voice shook when he finally spoke. "Did I do something wrong?" Rachel looked up at him, her face kind. "No, sir. Healing is not straight. It goes forward, then back, then forward again. Lily is fighting inside her mind." Daniel walked to the window and placed his hand on the cold glass. "I do not know how to help her fight." Rachel stood and moved closer. "You help her by staying. She needs to know you are not leaving again." Her words hit him deep. He had been there physically, but his fear had always kept him far away. And Lily felt it. Children always feel it. Rachel knelt beside Lily again. "Would you like me to sing, sweetie?" Still nothing. Rachel began to hum the soft tune she hummed every day. Her voice filled the room like warm air. Slowly, slowly, Daniel saw Lily blink a little faster, her fingers moving gently on the elephant's ear. Then Daniel's phone buzzed in his pocket. He sighed. "Work again," he whispered. Rachel looked at him. "Do not answer yet." He hesitated. The call buzzed again, and again. His fingers twitched. He stepped into the hallway and stared at the screen. It was from his office. A message popped up. Another urgent problem. Another demand pulling him away. His breathing grew tight. He felt pressure on both sides. His daughter needed him. His work needed him. And for a moment, fear won. He stepped back into the room and said, "I need to go to my office for a moment. It will be quick." Rachel looked at him, her eyes calm but disappointed. "She needs you here, sir." "I will be right back," he said, his voice too sharp. He walked away before she could answer. He did not notice the way Lily flinched when he raised his voice. He did not see how she pulled the elephant closer, fear returning to her face. Downstairs, Daniel sat at his desk and opened his laptop, but his hands shook too much to type. He stared at the screen, then closed it again. He pressed his palms to his face and whispered, "What am I doing? I promised I would stay." Upstairs, Lily stood up for the first time that morning. She walked toward the bedroom door, her steps small and weak. She reached the doorway and looked into the hall. Her breathing grew fast. She wanted her father. She wanted the safety she felt when he sat in the room, even without touching her. Rachel watched her. "It is okay, sweetie. He is coming back." But Lily shook her head. She stepped into the hallway. Her legs trembled under her. She took one more step, then another. She was trying to go downstairs. "Lily," Rachel called gently. "Slow, sweetie, slow." Lily took another step, but her legs were still learning, still unsure. She stumbled. Rachel rushed forward, but Lily slipped before she could reach her. Her knee hit the wooden stair, and she cried out, a small, sharp sound that tore through the house. Daniel heard it. He ran from his office, fear rushing through him. When he reached the stairs, he saw Rachel holding Lily gently, checking her knee, whispering calm words. Lily cried against her shoulder, not loud, but in a way that broke Daniel's heart. "What happened?" he said, breath shaking. Rachel looked at him. "She wanted you, sir. She tried to walk to you." Daniel's knees buckled. He rushed down the stairs and knelt beside them. Lily reached for him, tears still falling. Daniel took her gently, holding her close, his face buried in her hair. "I am here," he whispered. "I am here, baby. I am not leaving again. I am sorry. I am so sorry." Lily cried into his chest, her small hands gripping his shirt. And Daniel felt something inside him break, something he had been holding for too long. Rachel stood back, tears in her own eyes, watching father and daughter cling to each other. After a long time, Lily's crying softened. Daniel held her without moving, as if letting go might break her again. Rachel spoke softly. "She is scared of losing you, sir. She needs to believe you will stay." Daniel nodded, still holding Lily close. I will. I will stay. No matter what. Rachel knelt beside them. Then let us work together. Let us help her heal. Daniel looked at her, his eyes full of gratitude and pain. Please teach me. I cannot do this alone. Rachel placed her hand gently on his arm. You are not alone anymore, sir. Lily looked up at them both, her tears slowing, and reached out her small hand. She touched Daniel's cheek, then touched Rachel's hand. A silent message passed between them. They were becoming a family, even if none of them had spoken it yet. And as the snow began to fall outside the windows of the New York townhouse, Daniel finally understood something he had fought for too long. Healing does not happen in silence. Healing happens in the moments when broken people choose each other. Dear viewers, this story reminds us that some people look strong on the outside, but inside they are carrying pain they never talk about. Daniel lost his wife, and fear closed his heart. Little Lily lost her mother, and her small body shut down. And Rachel, who came to help them, was carrying her own silent battles. 3 people, each broken in a different way, found healing only when they stopped hiding and allowed love to reach them. In life, we meet people who change us without even trying. People who remind us that healing takes time, and small steps still count. Sometimes, help comes from the person we least expect, and it arrives right when our hearts are about to give up. If this story touched you, please tell us where you are watching from and what you learned from this journey. Your words matter, your voice matters, and your story might help someone else who is struggling right now. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who needs hope today. And if you want more emotional and powerful stories like this, comment more stories, and you will be the first to get our next touching story. Before you go, here are 3 questions to think about, and you can answer them in the comments. 1. What part of this story touched your heart the most? 2. Do you believe that one caring person can change a whole family? 3. Have you ever been afraid to love again because of something you lost? We are waiting to hear your answers. Thank you for watching. And remember, no matter how dark life feels, light can return in the softest, smallest ways.